there, so today I'm going to be showing you the art supplies that I use, like the sketching supplies that I take around with me in general, and what I like and I don't like, as well as a couple of stuff that I just have here in the house and that I end up using. So I'm not gonna give too much else for this intro. I will give a disclaimer though that I am a collector of art supplies, technically, yeah. So all of this stuff wasn't sent to me by anyone. I don't think I have a good enough following for them to even do that. This was all bought with the money I got, and you know, I'm very privileged to be able to experiment and to try out different art supplies and even like the expensive stuff, and I know that not a lot of people have the privilege to do that, so please don't take this as like a you must have these art supplies thing. This is just what I've tried and what I find works out for me. So now that that's out of the way, I'll start first with my current sketch. So my current sketchbook, which is actually a more recent discovery, this is the Hannah Mule Nostalgia book, I believe. I just have stickers all over it, which, oh no, is there something? Okay, oh yeah, there's tack there, oops. Alright, this sketchbook it has very smooth paper, like you can see on this test page. It's very smooth paper. It's really good for watercolor, surprisingly. I find that a lot of smooth papered sketchbooks aren't very good with watercolor, but this one was really nice for it. I think it can only handle light wash, and of course it's not going to be as good as actual like textured or as toothier paper or like just watercolor paper in general, but it holds up really well for that, and I really like that because I like to be able to both sketch and paint in my sketchbooks without worrying so much. I don't use actual watercolor sketchbooks as my sketchbooks because I find that I always have to paint in it if that were the case, and so having something that I can just throw in whatever is just really, really nice. The page that I've done. I just really like this sketchbook. It was a very recent discovery. And I really like it. They have pretty thick pages, and they're not too. Oh no, I have to blur that out. They don't have too many pages to the point of like being overwhelming, but they have enough for me to kind of just, experiment on. And yeah, I do a lot of scrapbooking on this, and of course like general like gesture sketching, and so yeah, I really like this sketchbook. Now for actual sketching and painting supplies. Alright, I have one pencil case in here that I'm going to show you. This just has like my Tombow markers. It's by Simi Art. And I really, really like these for, again, general sketching in my sketchbook. They're really nice because you can kind of soften them with water if you wanted to and like get some nice effects, but in general I just like adding pops of color with it in my sketchbooks. Another little alternative that I have to these Arteza real brush pens. These ones have a real brush marker like tip, so they're much more flexible. Let's see. So they're softer and more flexible. They can get a little dry brushy if you work at them a little bit too much. Sometimes I need to dip them in water to sort of soften the pigment a little bit and then get it to work better. But I like these as well for using in my sketchbooks. I got this secondhand. Now we're gonna get into my main pencil case. This right here is a Lihet Lab. I hope that's the way you pronounce it, but if not, then oh well. But this is a pencil case. This is probably the best pencil case I've found so far that really works for me. I've used pencil pouches and like layered stuff, but I don't think any have really suited me as much as this has. I don't know. It's really good. It's very expandable. I didn't expect that out of its size, and it's just really, really nice. It's not too big but not too small, so I can fit a lot of things in it but not bring so much with me, and it's really, really good for travel too. So I'm gonna go through the stuff that I have in here. These are a bunch of like colored pencils that I have. I've been using a lot of earth colors recently. So most of these, except for one, are the Faber-Castell Polychromos. I find they're a bit like stiffer than the Prismacolor Premier ones, and they work for me better because I'm a bit more heavy-handed when it comes to sketching, and I like to also just sketch with colored pencils. So I have I can't see this. Chromium green opaque, pine green, terracotta, and then I have green gold, and I can't pronounce that. But it's like a dark brown. And this one is same brand, but this is a watercolor pencil. This is the Albert Dürer watercolor pencil. This is their Caput Mortum Violet. So since they didn't have this color in their polychromos, so I just grabbed the watercolor pencil. These 4 colors were more for recent purchase, but these two I've been using a lot. I mean, you can tell by like how short these two are, but these two I've been using a lot, and I really, really enjoy them. And then I have the infamous Prismacolor Cola Rays pencils. I have these two one in Tuscan red and the other in just like brown. I really like them. I really enjoy them for sketching, and I like that you can erase them, but you can't erase them enough. So you kind of have like there's still like a challenge of like trying not to erase as much as possible. Anyways, I carry my paintbrushes as well in here. I have a Pentel Aquash water brush in here. This is the medium tipped one. I like to switch between the larger and the medium tipped one, but I've been using this one more often. I've had this for years actually. I think I've had this for about 3 years now, and it's still going pretty strong, and I still really enjoy it. These are the 2 travel brushes that I use. I use the Escoda Prado travel brushes. And they're convertible so that you have a longer handle, and they feel really, really nice. Like I use these both on the go and at home. So these are the 2 that I have. I have one in size 8 and one in size 12. I really, really enjoy them. I do want a much softer one in a larger size though, because I don't know, I feel like they might be easier. But I've been just really content with these though so far. These are really, really nice. They feel really nice in your hand. They feel luxurious, really. And I love them so much, and they hold a lot of water, and they also go down to a really nice brown. Yeah, these are lovely. Definitely worth the money. Now we get to the pens in here. So I have 2 like pigment ink brush pens, or like pigment ink pens. I use any sort of fine liner really, but this one that I have right now is a Zig cartoonist pen in 03. So it's just this very fine point. I'd say it's a good like mid point for me. I don't like too thin or too thick. I like it right in the middle. So yeah, I have that. All these pens are waterproof, by the way. This one is a Tombow brush pen. This is like a gray brush pen and a black brush pen, so it's double-ended. I really like this. It's nice having a 2-in-1, really. I also have like a similar style. This is the Pentel Brush Sign Pigment Pen, and this one's in sepia, so it's a brown color. So I just like having a brown ink pen with me. So for the rest of the stuff in here, I think everyone recognizes this. This is a Uniball Signo broad-tipped white gel pen. Everyone knows what this is, but I like using it for highlights. Ooh, this little tool that I forgot to mention. Alright, God, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. I picked up this tip from Leslie Stroh's art, I think is how you pronounce the name of it, but I'll leave her YouTube down below. But basically, she uses a knitting needle to sort whenever she's sketching like on the go and stuff, and she would use it as a sort of unit of measurement. She would hold it up against like the object that she's painting and like move her thumb down so that you can kind of take a unit of measurement and kind of make sure that your proportions are correct. And I thought it was a really good idea. I didn't have a knitting needle, but I had this very thick, I think it's a yarn needle, so I mean it still works, you know, you can still do it. And yeah, I haven't been using this technique much, but I keep this in here anyway in case I have the opportunity to. So I think it's really, really useful. Yeah, didn't expect to explain that, but oh well. Alright, next is my actual like graphite lead pencil. This is just a lead holder pencil. There's a lot of different brands out there. This one is Durer, and it just has 2mm graphite lead. They do have a sharpener at the back so that you can sharpen the lead to a point, but I don't really like using it because it gets everything really messy and it's really hard to dispose of the shavings sometimes. Now these are other like sketching pens that I have. So this one is a uniball roller, I believe. This is took me a while to find this sort of pen. I heard of it before. I thought they don't sell it anymore, but they sold it again. I will try and see if I can find this specific model, but it's basically a waterproof uniball gel pen, and I really like it for sketching, although it can skip a bit depending on like the paper that you're using, so just be aware of that. Sometimes it can get a little bit scratchy, but I still have it with me. Next I have this Lamy fountain pen. This is probably the first like fountain pen that I've ever invested in, and it's so nice. It's really, really smooth. I've tried like other fountain pens before, or another fountain pen before, and I always found that one to be very scratchy, but this is very, very smooth and it's really nice to write with. The ink that I have inside is a waterproof fountain pen ink, which I have here, which is the platinum carbon ink. And it's just really, really nice, and I like using it for sketching as well. Okay, now we finally get into sort of stuff in this little miscellaneous things in here. So I'm gonna start off with the little things here. So right here is this art graph water soluble graphite in dark brown. This is not how it actually looks, by the way. But basically it's a water soluble graphite, and I like to use this for tone studies from time to time. I haven't used it much though, but I keep it in here again for tonal studies and stuff, and it's just really nice. I sometimes use these little flaps to sort of kind of lighten the color as I go. Yeah, I like to use these from time to time for like tonal studies, and it's just a pretty cool tool to have. Alright, so I have two watercolor palettes in here, but I'll get to the other one later. This one that's actually made of a credit card holder, or like a card holder in general. This is by Macraft Workshop, which I'll see if I can leave the link down below. If I forget, I swear. But this holds about 18 colors in it. But my only complaint though is that it stains very, very easily. I really hope to I don't know, it stains very easily, so you can see it's very portable, very nice to take around with me, and it's just very slim. So yeah, love that. Alright, this next tool. This next tool that I have here is a little bit unconventional. So I picked up this tip again from Leslie Stroh's art, and it's basically using like a red filter to kind of identify values. So especially if you have a painting and you want to know how many values that you have, because having a lot of value in your painting, it will make it look very will make it pop a lot more. I mean, a replacement for this really is is to use like the black and white filter on your phone. That definitely works very, very well. But sometimes I like to make sure that that when I'm drawing, I'm not touching my phone as much as possible unless I'm like using a reference or something. So I have this filter slide that very conveniently happens to be a Twilight movie filter slide. It's a running joke really, but it's a pretty useful tool. I've used it a few times and I actually think that it helps it does its job, and it also has the opportunity of being kind of silly. So I mean, it works for my purposes at least. And there's a larger side with a larger mesh. Woo! With a larger mesh pocket in here. And I can fit a lot of stuff in here as well. So I'm gonna pull everything one by one. So these, funnily enough, were actually like these socks that I used to have. So I couldn't really use them as socks. So I decided to cut them up and use them as little rags. Occasionally, if I wanted to, I would wear them on my wrist. Yeah. But also be very careful when you do that because especially if you have possibly toxic or like heavy metal paints, don't do that. it may get to your skin and you don't want that. So yeah, sometimes I just have them in there with me. It's very, very useful to have a little rag with me. Now for the two erasers that I have. So in this little box here, I keep a kneaded eraser in here. This is really nice because I find kneaded erasers to be very gentle on the paper. They don't like pull up the paper and like make it really weird when you're painting. So yeah, I just have this in this little pill box. And then I have a Faber-Castell dust-free eraser. This is probably my favorite eraser in the entire universe because it just works really well. This is missing the sleeve, by the way. I have one right here that still has the sleeve on. But yeah, it looks like this if you want to find it. But it's a really good eraser. I like it because it is dust-free, so it kind of clumps, so that when you erase, the shavings kind of clump up together, and it's just really, really good. Really recommend these. They're just lovely. Okay, some other tools that I have in here. I have a spray bottle, a spray mister. I just have this to refill my water brushes and stuff, so. Next, I have a Coom pencil sharpener. This is a long point pencil sharpener, so this is basically a long point sharpener. Now, what that means is this section here, this sharpener here really, kind of carves the wood of your pencil so that it kind of leaves the lead sticking out, so that you can use this one to sharpen the lead, to like carve the lead of your pencil. And it's really, really useful for that. Just really cool. And on these two sides here is where you can sharpen 2mm pencils. So that's where I sharpen this 2mm pencil that I have. And for me, it's just nicer to not get the shavings everywhere. But I really like it. It's a really, really lovely sharpener. Yeah. So I have that with me. Yeah, it's a mess in there. Now for the last thing in here, which is another watercolor palette. I keep two with me. Like a fucking lunatic, but oh well. I don't mind it that much. This is the Portable Painter Micro palette, and I just got this recently, actually, and it's really, really cool. It opens like this. Fold this out, take it out, and you slide this on the side. So what's this? The little lid, and there we go. You have 4 little palette wells, and you have this one giant one, and I like to fill this one actually with water as like my little water cup. And it's really nice as well because whenever I dump the water out, I believe it has to do with like the coating on it, but basically instead of sort of seeping in and like making everything kind of damp, it makes it so that the water kind of collects as little beads, so it feels mostly dry when you dump the water out. And it's really, really nice, especially when I'm traveling, because then I don't have to deal with unnecessary spilling and stuff like that. And I don't know, I got this very recently and I'm very excited to take it with me on my travels. It's just really, really useful and I love it so much. And it also just puts itself together very easily. This is also credit card size from what I saw on the thing, but yeah. I also really love like the texture of this plastic, or like the outside plastic. It's like a very nice and like matte feel, and it just feels really, 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 really nice. So yeah, this is a very recent purchase as like a reward for myself after finals, and I love it. They also come, I forgot to mention, these also come with like these split half pans. They weren't available in my art store at that time, but like split half pans that are kind of divided into 2 and into 4, so you can add more colors in if you wanted to. I just don't have them yet. I'm waiting until they restock on those so that I can buy them myself. But yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna talk about paper as well. I think a lot of you have heard of these, especially those who are in the Shopee gang. This is the, I don't know how to pronounce that, watercolor paper. This is 100% cotton and it's hot pressed because I enjoy hot pressed since I do a bit of mixed media. And it's just nicer to sketch on and nicer to like line and put colored pencils on. This is their watercolor block. And it's a really good price for 100% cotton paper. I know that there's cheaper out there, but this is what I've been using, and it's pretty good. I haven't been using it much because I've mostly been drawing in my sketchbook, but for like my finished paintings and stuff, I use this quite a bit. So yeah, it's my new favorite. Now for the palettes that I more exclusively use at home. Yes, this is overbarred for me, and I still have more under my desk, but again, I'm a collector, so don't judge me, okay? Of course, you don't have to have so many watercolors to be a good artist. I think having one decent palette or like one decent set of colors is already good enough. This is just my interest, so that's just a little disclaimer. This one over here is one of my self-made palettes. And this has Core, Daniel Smith, some Van Gogh. I have like 2 Van Gogh colors in here, and these 2 Schminka, and I think 1 Sennelier color in here. This is like my self-made palette, and I like to use it a lot at home, and it's actually also a pretty good size to like bring with me. My palette full of purely Daniel Smith colors. This is a plastic palette that I just got because I feel as though their pre-made palettes are a little bit too overpriced for me, and so I just got everything that I had with me already and just combined it all into a palette. I even have the sticker there. But whoop, I just realized, oh, I haven't updated this color chart. I just forgot. I need to. Again, this isn't like an actual set. This I bought separately, and then I put all my colors in here. But just to show you, this can attach into different sides. So it can attach the bottom and on the sides. And this is really messy. Yeah, like I said again, these are all Daniel Smith colors, and this is pretty much majority, if not all, of the colors that I have collected over the years. Some I do have as half pans, but not as tubes, but most I do already have as tubes. So I really love Daniel Smith. Again, this is one of my favorite palettes, and yeah, it's just lovely. There's nothing really else to say. The hype for Daniel Smith is well deserved for me. I think they make great paints, really. With the cutesy one with the pink stickers. are actually White Nights watercolors. These are really good. Don't mind that one. That's not White Nights. These are really, really nice because they come in large, like these full pans, and they're actually professional grade at a pretty low price, and they're also very widely available. So if you want a good alternative to other professional watercolors, White Nights is really the way to go. Yeah, these are the ones that I have over the years. I also have their granulating colors, and they're very beautiful. So yeah, really good palette. I've been using it quite a bit, and I don't really have any complaints. But really, really good. They're probably the most expensive. I don't know. I would say it would be around the same as Daniel Smith, but these are my Schminka paints. So these are the colors that I have. I curated this palette. This was not a pre-made palette except for like the first 12 colors in here. Now, the first 12 are actually Schminka Academy, but because I don't really find a difference in... Oh no, not the first 12. 12 colors in this palette are actually Schminka Academy colors. So that's their student grade colors. But I personally find that I don't really find a difference of their student grade or their artist grade. Personally, I just think that they're the same. So to each their own, I guess. If you guys find a difference, I mean, go ahead, tell me. But these are the colors that I've been collecting. In general, Schminka's a really good brand. It's just really expensive. I mean, they're German watercolors, so I would understand. Also, there's a hole in that Prussian blue there. I just realized that. Didn't notice that before. But yeah, they're good. They're just really pricey. So watercolor is just my favorite like art drawing medium, and so for me it's well worth it. But again, if you're on a budget, maybe don't go for this. Go for the White Nights. They're cheaper and you get more paint out of that. But Schminka's also really good, so I don't know. So those are my current favorite art supplies. I feel like I've mentioned way too many because again, I understand that not many of you have the means to get a lot of art supplies, and I completely understand that. So take all of my comments on art supplies and stuff with a grain of salt, because yeah. And if you find that a lot of these are a little bit pricey, I can also make a video of me recommending some more affordable or like budget friendly art supplies that I find are still really good. So yeah, that's all I have to say at the moment, and I'll see you in another video. Bye bye.